The Warriors are 6-1 since adding Jimmy Butler, and they got Draymond Green wilding out there, man.
And I think we're going to win the championship. We are going to win the championship.
I don't know about that, but they got Jonathan Kuminga on the horizon and Steph Curry still being Steph Curry. And I've seen crazier things happen, so maybe. But either way, with Steph Curry's elite outside shooting and Jimmy Butler's defense, playmaking, the ability to attack the paint, get fouled, and hit free throws, they might have found the perfect complement for Steph Curry at this stage in their careers. So in this video, we're going to go through a few Play Now online games, show you how I've incorporated Jimmy Buckets into my Play Now online system with the Warriors. Maybe Jimmy Buckets starts splashing here and there. With nearly 2 months left before we start the playoffs, the Warriors are headed for an important part of their season. They got Jonathan Kuminga coming back and a favorable schedule, so Warriors fans, buckle up and welcome to the Jimmy era. So what you'll see in these games is how I'm configuring the Warriors right now. I'm going to try to play them true to life. That means Draymond at the 5. And typically what you have is Moses Moody at the 4. But instead, I'm going to put Guy Santos at the 4. He's got an 87 3-ball rating. Then that's good enough spacing to complement Steph Curry's elite shooting, and Buddy Hield is right there for some spacing as well. So I'm going 5 out, seeing what this guy is about. That was an open shot, a pretty makeable shot, but I don't make it. So what do you guys think about the Jimmy Butler addition? At this point, I don't even think Jimmy Butler has played particularly well on offense. Everything else, he's been doing excellent in terms of defense. Not much, so much as a point of attack defender, but as a help defender and as a F things up kind of guy that's very disrupted on defense. His combination with Draymond Green and Brandon Podziemski. And there's that Guy Santos 3-ball right there, as I said. His combination with Draymond has worked better than I expected. I'm going to be interested to see the fit when Jonathan Kuminga comes back, as my opponent uses a nice strong handle spin move right there. But this is Steph Curry splashing right in front of Russell Westbrook. So the Warriors are 6-1. I don't think that they faced particularly tough competition, outside of maybe Houston, and Milwaukee didn't have Giannis, for example, and the Mavs are shorthanded. They also lost to the Mavs once in a game that they should have won. But the true test will come. I'm not sure if this road trip will be it because it's also a favorable road trip. But true test will come when they start meeting some of those more marquee teams to see how they match up. So I haven't labbed extensively with Jimmy Butler in 2K25, and he's one of the trickier players to use in the game, to be honest. It's a very slow jump shot, so rhythm shooting can be a bit tricky unless you're super used to it. Yeah, some good animations like his escape dribbles are pretty good. A go-to shot that's fairly decent, and hop jumpers that, while they generate a lot of space, the timing, the speed of which is a little bit tricky to time. So I do have a bit of a problem using Jimmy as a primary shot creator in 2K25, at least while I haven't labbed with him yet. Otherwise, I'm using him as a disruptor on defense, and as you can see, this dude just stared Steph Curry down and said, "You got it, sir," and I don't understand. So I'm up 70-10 in the first quarter, and at this point I pretty much figured him out. It's basically rim running with Westbrook to see what collapses. So as long as I stay in front of him with Steph, as you see right here, I'm pretty fine. He doesn't know how to use Jamal Murray, who honestly has one of the trickier pro play jump shots. Still, it looks accurate, but there's a little hitch to it that I'm not particularly a fan of. So what you're seeing right here is me using Jimmy Buckets as a distributor, offensive playmaker, either through some combos. We get Jimmy his first bucket right here on an end one. But, I'll have a future Jimmy Buckets showcase. The challenge here was that, as you know, the way 2K25 is, you can only play a certain amount of games. Actually, you can only play one game with a particular team, and then you need to go on a 5-game cooling period. So that was pretty tricky to get some Jimmy Buckets footage. So I pretty much watched all 7 of the Jimmy Butler Warriors games, and I think I came away a little bit more optimistic about the fit, just because Jimmy Butler is such a smart player. As a strong handle right here into a go-to shot. Let's see if we can get that hop jumper. The fit has some issues. I think spacing is going to be a concern, but thankfully both Moses Moody and Brandon Podjemski have been playing really great. So that's one thing about Jimmy, right? He raises your team's floor, and Jimmy's ability to really enhance Brandon Podjemski and Moses Moody as floor spacers and play finishers instead of play creators has done them wonders on offense. So Steve Kerr uses a stagger with Jimmy and Steph. Jimmy comes out after 5 minutes, and then Steph comes out with about 2 minutes left in the first quarter. Then Jimmy comes in. Then Jimmy starts the second with Draymond and Pods, and I think that rotation has worked fine so far. It's gonna be interesting how the return of Jonathan Kuminga will kind of impact that. I think at this point, because of the way Moody has been playing, I think, and as you can see right there, Jimmy Butler is just elite on defense. The way Moody is playing, I think they stick with the starting lineup. The problem is, Draymond Green is getting old, and his minutes at the center position are going to be pretty taxing. So it's going to be interesting to see how Steve Kerr sort of manages that. As you can see right here, I just love the Chef Curry special. That side hop jumper out of that between the legs crossover is so elite. So I think Jonathan Kuminga comes off the bench, and I think you're going to have to pair him with Quinton Post, Jimmy Buckets, Podjemski, and another shooter. So maybe Buddy Hield minutes right there. Because it's going to be tough to have a lineup with JK, Draymond, and Jimmy Butler. And let's say you have Buddy Hield and Brandon Podjemski. That's not enough shooting. So Steve Kerr definitely has a few things to try to understand about how they're going to incorporate Jonathan Kuminga, who is in a contract year and is looking for a max extension. As you can see right here, Jimmy just forces his way through everything. So with their back-to-back wins against the Mavericks and the Hornets, or I think this is now 4 straight wins, they find themselves tied at the 8th spot. And as we go to our second game, the Warriors have a legitimate chance to go for that 6th spot. They have a favorable record. I think they have maybe one of the easiest schedules remaining for a lot of the play-in contenders. I'm not too optimistic about the Kings. I don't really like the Zach LaVine addition. The Spurs are basically out with Wemby. Get well soon, Wemby. With Wemby being out for the rest of the season, and the Timberwolves just don't look good too much yet. I mean, they had a big win against the Thunder. The Clippers are solid, but now you have concerns about their health. The Clippers might actually get that 6th spot, as this guy just goes up 8-2 on me. But the Warriors are right there, in my opinion, and it's going to be important for the Warriors to get out of the play-in, because, the last 2 times that they've been in the play-in hasn't gone well for them. They were eliminated by the Kings, and they were eliminated by Memphis in 21. But, Jimmy Buckets, I think, settles this team down, and maybe a lot of those, and if you watched a lot of Warrior games in the past, maybe a lot of those games where they just go through periods of insanity and insane droughts with a lot of turnovers, bad shooting, an inability to shot create without Steph. Maybe Jimmy settles them down and gives an opportunity to be better in clutch minutes, and therefore they might be better positioned to win a few play-in games. But I just don't trust it. So the best method really for the Warriors is to avoid the play-in completely. I think they match up well against the Thunder. Although now the Chet is back, I'm not too sure about that. I think they also match up well against teams like Memphis and Houston, in my opinion. I think Houston, defensively, such a dog of a team, but just offensively, I don't see them really becoming much better in the clutch in a playoff situation when they've been terrible on offense all year. And Memphis presents some interesting matchup problems, but the Warriors have shown time and again throughout the years that they can and they will pretty much match up well against the Memphis Grizzlies. If I were the Warriors, a team that I'd probably try to avoid is the Lakers and the Nuggets. I don't think they got a matchup for either team. Maybe the Lakers though, because the Lakers have limited bigs, but that dynamic duo of Luka Doncic and LeBron is just a scary proposition for the playoffs. 2 of the smartest guys to ever play the game, 2 of the best playmakers with elite vision and an ability to still shot create at this point. With the wing depth and defensive length that the Lakers have. I'm not sure the Warriors want to see that team either. And man, Luka's just a different kind of killer in the playoffs. I've seen many games where he just decided that, he just gonna destroy you. And a lot of people are in the Mavs front office are definitely doubting Luka and his fitness level. But in my opinion, you got a killer like Luka who completely killed the Phoenix Suns and any potential for that Phoenix Suns team to be considered any sort of a elite team long term. Luka basically killed that. So what you see right here is after struggling for about 3 minutes in the first quarter, I kind of figured this team out. Um, Once again, I've turned on the defense, and as you can see from these plays right here, just cooking people with Steph Curry left stick dribble moves. Jimmy buckets, just killing this dude in the paint. As you can see, just a simple strong handle spin into an under goal stab. That's the way Jimmy's been playing a lot with the Warriors right now, focusing a lot more on interior scoring. His high-low play with Draymond is really fun. They get Jimmy in a lot of screening actions with Steph that opens up a lot of opportunities for Jimmy to go to the paint. It's been pretty fun to see them figure things out in real time, and it's gelling way better than anyone expected, I bet. So as you can see right here is just me running this guy through the gamut of different counters, a lot of isolation plays. His answer has been to try to, press me, as a lot of these play now online dudes seem to want to do. Not gonna be effective against someone like me. Not also gonna be effective unless you got some of those cracked out defenders that my team or my career allows. But for some weird reason, he just decides to quit. And now that's 2-0 in the Jimmy Play Now era. Headed off to our third game against the Atlanta Hawks. So I think the Warriors might make the playoffs, to be honest. I definitely favor them over the Kings, who I think they've won some back-to-back games, but it's against Charlotte and Utah. In my opinion, that roster just doesn't work. They need to retool. I'm seeing less Domas involved in the offense. And we already saw Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan in Chicago. I'm not sure what the Kings front office, thought about this situation. But do I see the Warriors making some noise in the playoffs? I don't think so. Under the right matchup, maybe if they match up against Houston or Memphis, maybe they have a shot at getting to the second round. But in my opinion, the top three teams, which is Oklahoma, and I think the Lakers and the Nuggets have a shot at 2 and 3. If the Warriors get matched up with either of those teams, I think they're not going to make it out of the first round. But hey, this is a way better spot for the Warriors compared to where they were just 2 weeks ago. I understand that, Steve Kerr and a lot of the guys really hated to lose Wiggins, who, in my opinion, they took a lot of pride in because they turned him into a champion because after his, poor reputation in Minnesota. But it was just time. They needed someone like Jimmy Butler to really, give them a little bit extra confidence, give them another guy that's going to be patient out there on the floor, direct traffic. And we all know about playoff Jimmy. He hasn't been healthy. I think last year was where he missed the second round, right? So hopefully better health for him this year. So far, Jimmy hasn't missed games. He hasn't forced a lot of stuff with his jumper just because his legs probably aren't there, because he basically missed about a month and a half of regular season time. But I think when he gets there by the playoffs, if the Warriors make it to the playoffs, Jimmy has a legit shot to make some noise and really make things way easier for Steph. But if you're a Warriors fan, and I'm a huge Steph Curry fan, this was ultimately a step in the right direction. Maybe next year, the Warriors can add someone else that provides a better fit to the Warriors. I think someone like Lauri Markkanen still would really help the Warriors in a big way. Obviously, someone like KD. And KD did that podcast with Draymond saying that it wasn't necessarily that he was opposed to going to the Warriors because of Draymond, but because he just didn't want to move in the middle of the season. Jonathan Kuminga's got a big extension coming up. That's going to be a big question mark as well. But Hey, I hope you enjoyed this video. This dude actually quit after the end of the quarter, which I don't understand. And because of the way Play Now Online is, I couldn't get another game in with my 3 accounts. And it is what it is. So we went 3-0 in the Jimmy Butler Play Now Online era. Decimated our opponents. This guy quit, so it didn't give me an opportunity to completely destroy him, but it was trending that way. So hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think of Jimmy Butler and the Golden State Warriors. Do you think that this team has a legitimate shot to upset a few teams in the West? Do you agree with Draymond that they are going to win a championship? I bet it's a no. Like, I got 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 teams in front of the Warriors, but hey, it's not bad to dream, right? So I hope you enjoyed this video, some Play Now Online footage where we cook the defense, some Jimmy Buckets gameplay. I got Kings gameplay next and a few rec game modes to go. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.